All right, let's get right into it. How on earth did TikTok go from just another app to a force that's dominating the globe? Well, I can tell you it was no accident. There was a plan. And today, we're going to break down that very deliberate three-step business blueprint that powered TikTok's incredible rise.
So, before we even get to the how, you have to understand the what, the sheer scale of their success. And it all boils down to engagement. Just think about this number for a second: 95 minutes. That is how long the average user spends on TikTok every single day. I mean, that's an absolutely unbelievable amount of captured human attention.
And, when you have that much attention, the money follows. In 2023, its parent company, ByteDance, reportedly rakes in around $120 billion. To put that in perspective, that's putting them right up there with giants like Meta. So we're not just talking about a fun app here. This is a true financial powerhouse. And the foundation for all of this? A massive global user base. We're talking almost 1.6 billion people using the app every single month. So you combine that insane reach, that staggering revenue, and that off-the-charts engagement, and you've got a genuine global force. The question is, how did they build this empire? Well, it all comes down to this very clear three-part plan. It's actually pretty straightforward when you lay it out. There were three huge, pivotal decisions. First, they bought their audience. Didn't build it, they bought it. Second, they built a ridiculously smart algorithm to get that audience completely hooked. And third, the part that's happening right now, they're building a whole eco-economy on top of it by owning the sale. So let's break down each of these steps one by one. So first up, let's talk about the first move in their playbook: buy your audience. This was never going to be about slow, organic growth. No, this was about speed. It was about being aggressive. And it all hinged on one single brilliant acquisition: Musical.ly. Okay, so you have to imagine the choice ByteDance was facing back then. The Western social media market was like a fortress, completely locked down by Instagram and Snapchat. If they tried to build a user base from scratch, it would have been a long, slow, incredibly expensive war. So they chose the fast way, the smart way. Why fight your British rival when you can just write a check and absorb their entire audience overnight? And make no mistake, this was a massive, massive bet. They put down nearly $1 billion to buy Musical.ly back in 2017. They weren't just buying an app, they were buying market access, an instant foothold in the US and Europe that would have taken them years and probably billions more to build on their own. So the big question is, did that billion-dollar bet pay off? Oh yeah. This timeline tells the whole story. Look at this. In January 2018, they've got 55 million users. Then in August, they finalized the merger. By the end of that same year, they had skyrocketed to 271 million users. The acquisition wasn't just a success, it was the rocket fuel they needed to go global. All right, so let's move on to decision number 2 because it builds directly on the first. Once you've bought an audience, you have to figure out how to keep them. And this is where TikTok's real secret weapon comes into play, that magical, all-powerful algorithm behind the For You page. This was a complete change in philosophy from everything that came before. Traditional social media, think Facebook, was built on what we called the social graph. You see content from your friends, from people you choose to follow. TikTok just threw that entire playbook out the window. They built everything around the interest graph. They don't care who you know. They only care about serving you content they know you'll love, no matter who made it. So what exactly is this interest graph? Well, it's a wickedly smart AI system that is constantly learning you. It doesn't care about your social circle. It cares about what you actually watch. Every single time you pause on a video or rewatch it or share it, you're teaching the algorithm. It uses all that data to build a hyper-personalized, literally never-ending feed designed for one purpose: to keep you watching. And the result of that choice is plain to see. This is the payoff. Remember that 95-minute average daily engagement we talked about at the beginning? Well, it absolutely blows the competition out of the water. That For You page, powered by the interest graph, is the engine that makes the entire platform so incredibly, unbelievably sticky. And that brings us to the third and final piece of the blueprint: own the sale. See, after capturing the world's attention, TikTok is now making a really aggressive move into what's called social commerce. This is way more than just adding a buy now button to a few videos. The strategy with TikTok Shop is a fundamental change. They're shifting from just being a platform where brands advertise to an ecosystem where they own the entire transaction.
By controlling that whole journey, from the moment you discover a product to the moment you purchase it, all inside the app, they get to capture a much, much bigger piece of the pie.
And is it working? Well, the numbers are just staggering. In 2024, TikTok Shop is on pace to generate over $33 billion in global gross merchandise value. That's the total value of everything sold on the platform. This is a brand new, multi-billion-dollar business being built right before our eyes. And if you really want to see how fast this thing is moving, just look at the US market. In a single year, it grew by 650%. That's just wild. And it proves that this model isn't just a phenomenon in Asia, it has huge potential in really important Western markets too. So there you have it. That's the blueprint. It's like a 3-act play for taking over the world. But now it's your turn. I want you to be the analyst here. Looking at this whole thing, was this strategy truly brilliant? Let's just recap the core logic one more time. You buy a ready-made audience to get a massive head start. Then you hook them with an algorithm that's so good they just can't put their phone down. And finally, you build an entire new economy around all of that captured attention. It's a powerful and pretty ruthless combination. Of course, it's not all clear skies ahead. Being on top brings its own set of challenges, right? Growth is naturally starting to slow down in their bigger markets. They're facing constant and intense political pressure around the world. And honestly, they still have to prove that this huge bet on e-commerce is actually going to last in the long run. Which all leads us to this final big question. For you, we've gone through the playbook, we've seen the incredible results, but now, looking at the challenges they're facing, do you think this 3-part strategy is enough to keep TikTok on top for the next 5 years? What's your take?